SOLAS Chapter 6 Carriage of Cargo. Chapter 6 of the International Convention for the Safety of Life at Sea, SOLAS, is dedicated to the carriage of cargo. This chapter aims to establish safety measures and regulations for the loading, unloading, stowage, and securing of various types of cargoes, particularly solid bulk cargoes and grain. The regulations are crucial for ensuring that cargo operations are conducted safely to protect the crew, ship, and environment. Chapter 6 is divided into three main parts. Part A, General Provisions. Part B, Special Provisions for Solid Bulk Cargoes. Part C, Carriage of Grain. Each part contains regulations that outline requirements for different cargo types. Part A, General Provisions. Regulation 1, Application. Specifies which ships and cargo types are subject to the provisions of Chapter 6. Provides definitions for key terms used throughout the chapter to ensure clarity. Outlines specific requirements for solid bulk cargoes that do not fall under grain regulations. Regulation 2, Cargo Information. Mandates that shippers provide comprehensive information about the cargo, including necessary precautions for safe carriage. Regulation 3, Oxygen Analysis and Gas Detection Equipment. Requires ships to have equipment for monitoring oxygen levels and detecting gases in cargo holds to prevent hazardous situations. Regulation 4, the use of pesticides in ships. Regulates the use of pesticides on board to ensure safety and compliance with health standards. Regulation 5, Stowage and Securing. Establishes guidelines for how cargo must be stowed and secured to prevent shifting during transit. Ships carrying hazardous materials to have material safety data sheets available prior to loading. Prohibits blending operations or production processes on board while at sea to mitigate risks associated with chemical reactions. Part B, Special Provisions for Solid Bulk Cargoes. Regulation 6, Acceptability for Shipment. This regulation outlines the criteria that solid bulk cargoes must meet before they can be accepted for shipment. It ensures that cargoes are deemed safe for transport based on their physical and chemical properties. The regulation emphasizes the importance of thorough assessments to determine whether a cargo can be safely loaded onto a vessel. Regulation 7, Loading, Unloading, and Stowage of Solid Bulk Cargoes. This regulation provides detailed procedures for the loading, unloading, and stowage of solid bulk cargoes to maintain stability and safety during transit. Key points include loading procedures, guidelines on how to load cargo in a manner that prevents shifting or instability. Unloading procedures, ensuring that unloading is conducted safely to avoid accidents or damage to the vessel and cargo. Stowage requirements, specifications on how to properly stow solid bulk cargoes to ensure they remain secure throughout the voyage. Part C, Carriage of Grain. Regulation 8, Definitions. This regulation provides essential definitions related to the carriage of grain, ensuring that all parties involved have a clear understanding of terminology used in this context. Definitions may include terms like grain, cargo ship, and stowage. Regulation 9, Requirements for Cargo Ships Carrying Grain. This regulation sets forth specific requirements that cargo ships must adhere to when transporting grain. Key aspects include stability criteria. Ships must maintain adequate stability throughout the voyage to prevent capsizing or excessive rolling. Loading and unloading procedures. Detailed procedures must be followed during loading and unloading to ensure safety and prevent damage to both the cargo and the vessel. Securing cargo. Grain must be properly secured to prevent shifting during transit, which could lead to instability or damage. Mandatory codes under SOLAS Chapter 6. International Maritime Solid Bulk Cargoes Code (IMSBC Code). Mandatory for ships carrying solid bulk cargoes other than grain, providing guidelines on safe practices related to loading and unloading these materials. International Grain Code. Mandatory for ships carrying grain, establishing safety measures specific to grain transport, addressing issues such as stability and handling procedures. Code of Safe Practice for Cargo Stowage and Securing (CSS Code). Advisory Code providing essential guidelines on securing cargo safely during transport. Code of Practice for the safe loading and unloading of bulk carriers, Blue Code. Advisory code outlining best practices specifically tailored for bulk carriers during loading and unloading operations. Code of Safe Practice for Ships Carrying Timber Deck Cargoes, TDC Code. Advisory code focusing on safety measures related to the transport of timber deck cargoes. Documents required to be carried on board as per Chapter 6 of SOLAS. Cargo Loading Manual. Must include stability data, ballasting rates, maximum allowable loads per unit area, general loading instructions, and any special restrictions applicable during loading operations. Material Safety Data Sheets, MSDS. Required for hazardous materials being transported, these sheets provide essential information regarding handling precautions. Cargo Stowage Plans. Detailed plans indicating how cargo will be stowed aboard the vessel to ensure stability and safety during transit. Stability Booklet or Manual. Contains information on ship stability calculations relevant to various loading conditions. Certificates for solid bulk cargoes or grains. Certification documents confirming that solid bulk cargoes or grains meet required safety standards before shipment. Thank you for watching the video. For marine topics, please subscribe the CFix channel.